The first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, and I'm being perfectly honest here in my opinion, I consider to be a masterpiece. I mean, it really does seem real, the way they're able to capture the character Greg's emotions as he finally goes into middle school. He had so much anticipation of it, and his views of it are completely shattered. It was a really good book. I mean, the humor still holds up today. In fact, I recently reread it, and I still was laughing at a couple points. It really is a good book, and if you haven't read it yet, go out and buy it. It really is worth your money. So, of course, in this day and age, there had to be a sequel. It was very successful, so Jeff Kinney released a sequel, Diary from Wimpy Kid 2, Roderick Rules, which was pretty much as good as the first book. It had a couple problems, and it wasn't as funny, but overall, it was a A-plus sequel. I would give it a 9.5 out of 10, as opposed to the near perfect score of 9.75 out of 10 I would give the first book. In one way it differed from the first book, however. The first book's message was kind of to be a good person at the end. The ending of the second book kind of implies that you should be a jerk, or be whatever, as long as you're part of a group of people you like. Which is okay, kind of. I've been to middle school, and there are people who are really mean to people who are crippled and whatnot. And they certainly seem happy with one another while they're doing this, so I guess it's more relatable, but that's hardly an excuse to make a moral like that. Anyway, what we have here are two really good books, and of course, they released a third book, because you can't just stop at two. Diary of a Wimpy Kid 3, The Last Straw. And it was alright. I mean, it wasn't good as the first book or the second book. It wasn't as funny. It did have some pretty hilarious moments in it. The climax was the best in the series, and the ending really put everything in perspective. It also had the most intense plot out of all of them. Greg is running out of energy because someone is stealing his candy from his laundry room. Don't ask. Long story there. To be sent off to a military school, which he could questionably spend the rest of his childhood. It was really dark, actually. I loved the ending, and I thought the series really could have ended there. But of course, there had to be a fourth book. Rumors of a fourth Diary of a Wimpy Kid book began sprouting up all over. There were different titles, different plots, fake covers. It was really annoying. But eventually they announced it. There was actually like a sign that said Diary of a Wimpy Kid 4, title to be revealed soon. That was how big the franchise was at that point. People would brace themselves, as it said on the cover, for the title. So after a lot of waiting and way too much anticipation, they finally released Diary of a Wimpy Kid 4, Dog Days. And it was alright. I mean, it wasn't as good as the first three books. I'd give it an 8.75 out of 10. I'd already kind of messed with my head on how good it was going to be to begin with. It was going to take place during the summer, a place where none of the books took place. And it was pretty funny. Didn't really have a plot or anything, but it kind of kept you interested a little. I don't recommend it as highly as the other ones. Whenever I think of this book, I think of the game, Kane and Lynch 2, Dog Days. I mean, there wasn't anything real similar between them, except for the fact they're both sequels, and they're both about buddies, and they both have the same subtitle. I mean, it's kind of a very odd comparison, but there is kind of a buddy relationship between Kane and Lynch 2, and a buddy relationship between Greg and Rowley in Diary of a Wimpy Kid 4. I wonder if there are any other similarities between them. Nah, probably not. Probably just a coincidence. Anyway, it was pretty good. I just don't hold it up as high as the other three. Rumors of a fifth book quickly sprouted out, along with posters and more fake titles and images. But eventually they announced the real one, Diary of a Wimpy Kid 5, The Ugly Truth. Taking place a little while after the events of the fourth book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid 5 focuses on Greg's first year in 8th grade. It kind of ignores this fact, and I can agree, along with many other people, that it was the worst of the series. I mean, it had so many problems. The plot was bad, the writing was bad, the pacing was horrible. The fact that Greg writes an entire book over the course of 2 months is completely unrealistic to the characters. Actually, I don't even think it was 2 months. I think it was like a month and a half. It's basically trying to copy Big Nate, because each book takes place over a shorter and shorter amount of time. I mean, the first book takes place over the course of 9 months. The next book takes place over the course of 3 to 4 months. The next book takes place over the course of 6 months. Fourth book takes place over the course of the summer, 3 months. And this fifth book takes place over the course of, I'd say, about 4 weeks. This book was unquestionably the worst in the entire series. I don't hold it up as high as the fourth book. If you see it, burn it. And now they've just announced the sixth book in the series, Diary of a Wimpy Kid 6, Cabin Fever, which is coming out today, actually. I'll pick it up, and if I have anything real important to say about it, I'll do a review of it. I mean, I don't know if it can really recover. I mean, there's always hope for a series. I would much rather read, say, Artemis Fowl 5 than Artemis Fowl 4. I mean, there's always hope for a franchise. I mean, no matter how bad the fourth or fifth thing is, the sixth thing can always be better. I mean, Star Trek 1 sucked, but Star Trek 2 was really good. So, this is the sarcastic student saying, there's always hope, no matter how bad things get.